Somewhere on a beach tens of thousands of years ago, a human stood staring at open water with absolutely no way to cross it. No boat, no raft, no idea if anything even floated reliably enough to carry a person. And yet, somehow, ancient humans eventually crossed distances of open ocean that modern scientists still find difficult to explain. So, how did people with only stone tools figure out how to build something that could carry them across the sea? Let's start with the evidence that changes everything we thought we knew. In 2019, archaeologists confirmed that humans reached the island of Sulawesi in Indonesia at least 118,000 years ago. The problem is that Sulawesi was never connected to mainland Asia, even during the lowest sea levels of the Ice Age. Getting there required crossing open ocean, deep water, with no visible land on the other side. Even more striking is the evidence from Flores, another Indonesian island. Homo floresiensis, a small-bodied human relative, lived there for hundreds of thousands of years, completely isolated by deep water channels that never dried up, even at the lowest points of sea level history. Something crossed that water, and it wasn't modern humans with modern technology. It was an entirely different species of hominin, using something simple enough to build with nothing but stone tools and raw materials from the forest. So what were early watercraft actually made of? The answer is almost certainly bamboo and lashed logs, not carved canoes. Bamboo grows abundantly across Southeast Asia, and it has a critical property that makes it nearly perfect for early rafts. It's hollow, incredibly buoyant, and doesn't require any tools beyond a sharp stone edge to cut and shape. Researchers studying this period believe early hominins likely lashed bundles of bamboo together, using vines or plant fiber cordage, creating simple, floating platforms, rather than anything resembling a modern boat hull. In 2004, a team of researchers decided to test this idea directly. Archaeologist Robert Bednarik led an experiment building a bamboo raft using only tools and materials that would have been available roughly 800,000 years ago. No metal, no rope, no modern adhesives, just bamboo, plant fiber, and stone blades. The raft worked. It floated, it held weight, and with effort, it could be paddled across open water. This experiment didn't prove exactly how ancient humans built their rafts, but it proved something crucial. It was absolutely possible using technology far more primitive than most people assume. Here's where the story gets even more unsettling. Crossing water like this wasn't a single clever decision. It was almost certainly accidental, repeated, and often fatal. Anthropologists studying migration patterns believe these crossings likely happened during storms or flooding events, when clumps of vegetation, sometimes with animals or early humans clinging to them, were swept out to sea by rivers and currents. Most of these accidental voyages ended in death, drowning, exposure, starvation at sea. But every so often, by pure chance, a raft of tangled vegetation carrying survivors reached another shore. Natural rafts of floating vegetation have been documented drifting across open ocean even in modern times, sometimes carrying live animals hundreds of kilometers. This means the first boat builders may not have been inventors at all. They may have been survivors who noticed something important. Vegetation floats, and if it floats accidentally, maybe it can be built and controlled on purpose. This is where real design innovation begins. Once early humans recognized that certain materials floated reliably, the next step was lashing technology, tying multiple logs or bamboo stalks together using twisted plant fiber, animal sinew, or vines. Archaeological evidence of cordage, twisted fiber used for binding, dates back at least 40,000 years, found at sites in Europe linked to Neanderthals. This detail matters enormously. Neanderthals, not just modern humans, appear to have had the cognitive and technical ability to create strong, reliable rope, the single most important technology needed to build a raft that wouldn't simply fall apart in open water. Dugout canoes came later, and they required a genuine technological leap. The oldest known dugout canoe, the Pessie canoe, discovered in the Netherlands, dates back roughly 10,000 years. Making one required burning and scraping out the inside of a single large log, a slow, controlled process using fire to char the wood and stone tools to scrape away the charred material bit by bit. This method allowed early humans to shape a hull with far more stability and capacity than a simple lashed raft. But it required something rafts didn't: patience measured in days, sometimes weeks, of careful, repetitive labor. There's also a critical stability problem that any early boat builder would have discovered almost immediately: and painfully. A simple dugout log on its own rolls easily in open water. It's narrow, unstable, and prone to tipping the moment someone shifts their weight. The solution to this problem, the outrigger, ranks among the more underappreciated engineering breakthroughs in human history. By attaching a smaller, secondary float to one side of the main hull using a simple wooden frame, early boat builders could dramatically increase stability without adding significant weight or complexity. This single innovation, first appearing across Southeast Asia and Oceania thousands of years ago, is what ultimately made long-distance, reliable ocean travel possible. Without it, most early hulls would have capsized long before reaching any distant shore. Ice Age geography also played a role that's easy to overlook. During periods of lower sea levels, many islands that require long ocean crossings today were separated by far shorter stretches of water, sometimes just a few kilometers of visible, crossable sea instead of open, endless ocean. Anthropologists studying early migration into Australia, a journey that required crossing significant water even at the lowest sea levels of the last ice age, note that early humans could likely see the smoke of distant land fires or watch birds flying toward the horizon. Both practical clues suggesting solid ground lay just beyond the visible edge of the water. This made the very first deliberate crossings less like blind leaps of faith and more like calculated risks based on real environmental evidence. Once dugout canoes existed, ocean travel stopped being accidental and started being deliberate. The clearest evidence of this comes from the peopling of the Pacific. Beginning around 3,000 years ago, a Southeast Asian seafaring culture known as the Lapita began building double-hulled canoes capable of carrying entire families, livestock, and the seed crops across thousands of kilometers of open Pacific Ocean. These weren't rafts drifting on ocean currents. These were engineered vessels, built with woven sails, steering paddles, and hull designs specifically shaped to handle open swells. Polynesian navigators who descended from the seafaring tradition later crossed the Pacific using wave patterns, star positions, and the flight paths of birds to find islands that were sometimes thousands of kilometers from the nearest shore, with absolutely no instruments beyond their own trained senses. This raises an uncomfortable question that anthropologists still debate. How many rafts and canoes were lost at sea before one crossing finally succeeded? There's no way to know the real number, but the logic is unavoidable. For every successful voyage that populated a new island, there were almost certainly dozens, maybe hundreds of vessels that never arrived anywhere at all. The islands we know about today represent the survivors of an enormous, largely invisible graveyard of failed attempts spread across the ocean floor. Entire families, entire small communities may have simply vanished into open water, leaving behind no trace, no story, and no record beyond their absence from history entirely. So the next time you glance out an airplane window at endless blue ocean below, remember that someone, using nothing but bamboo, vines, sharpened stone, and raw courage, once looked at that same water and decided it could be crossed. Not with engines, not with GPS. With a bundle of floating plants tied together by hand, and a willingness to risk everything on the chance that land existed somewhere past the horizon.